Hello and welcome. My name is Dan Zetzel. I'm one of the developers on MOTOTRBO Anywhere, and I'm going to walk you through the MOTOTRBO Anywhere solution today. MOTOTRBO Anywhere is a solution to connect smartphones and tablets to radio users on the Connect Plus system. MOTOTRBO Anywhere consists of a mobile client that can be deployed on most smartphones and tablets, and a MOTOTRBO Anywhere gateway that connects into the Connect Plus radio system. Let's get started and look at the MOTOTRBO Anywhere client. We're going to start our introduction to the MOTOTRBO Anywhere solution with the mobile client. The mobile client is available on Apple devices at the Apple iTunes Store, and it's available on Google Play for Android users. The sign-in screen really just has 3 fields to fill in, so it's quite easy. You have a username, a password, and a MOTOTRBO Anywhere gateway address. So if you're security conscious, you may want to enter the password each time in case the device is lost or stolen. If you're less concerned about that, you can have it automatically remember your password to make it easier to launch the application. So when we enter the sign-in screen, you'll notice that we come to the main screen of the application. There's a Talk Groups tab, a Subscribers tab, and a History tab. Within the Talk Groups tab, you can notice that I can individually mute or unmute any talk group. And as I select the talk groups, just by pressing on the screen, you'll notice that the PTT button destination changes to let me know that I've successfully selected that talk group. If I select the talk group and I press the PTT button, you'll notice that I get a green activity indicator as well as a green PTT button and a talk permit tone to let me know that the call has gone through successfully. The talk permit tone is actually generated from the MOTOTRBO Anywhere gateway, and that lets me know that I've successfully set up a call across the entire radio system. If I dekey the radio now and another person PTTs in, I'll get a green activity indicator and a PTT ID to let me know who's speaking. I can then select that talk group, press PTT back. Hi Ben, what's happening?
Everything okay, Dan? Thanks very much.
What's nice about this is that if I have radio users or mobile users, they can reach me anywhere. If I move to the Subscribers tab, I can see a list of all the radio users, both radio and mobile subscribers, and I can select any of those users. So as I select on the screen, you'll notice that the PTT button again is changing to reflect the currently selected user. On the History tab, you can notice that we have all the conversations that have occurred, both how long ago and for the duration of the call. For both subscribers and talk group calls, the radio supports AES 256 for enhanced security. It supports a Diffie-Hellman key exchange every 2 minutes to make sure that your conversations stay private. We're going to continue our tour of the MOTOTRBO Anywhere solution by looking at the configuration of the MOTOTRBO Anywhere gateway. Similar to the MOTOTRBO Anywhere client, when you initially log into the gateway, you're asked to enter a password. This is actually a secure login to the MOTOTRBO Anywhere gateway, as it uses the SSL encryption to ensure that the connection is verified from your computer to the gateway itself. When you initially log into the MOTOTRBO Anywhere gateway, you'll notice that it also has a simple interface, very similar to the client. So you'll notice that there's the Users tab, the Talk Group tab, and the System tab. So if we click on the Users tab, we'll notice that we see a list of all the users that are configured on the MOTOTRBO Anywhere gateway. There's a list for the subscriber ID, the alias, any comments you want to enter about the user, whether they're active or inactive currently, and what their username is. If you click into a particular user, you can also see what their username and password is. If a user forgets their password, you could go here to remind them what their password is, or if you want to change the passwords on a periodic basis, you can go through and reset that and let your users know what those passwords are. If you needed to change a username or a password, again, you can edit those fields. When you click the Save button, you'll notice that the application gives you a status message to let you know that it was successfully saved. Once you're done making all your changes, you can commit them all in one simple button press by hitting the Commit Changes button. If I needed to add a user, I can simply click the Add User button, determine, I need to select whether it's a radio user or a MOTOTRBO Anywhere user. So if it was a Motorola traditional radio user, we would enter in the subscriber ID of the device, for example, 7000, and we would enter in the alias in so that we know when the user actually transmits on the system, we'll get a PTT ID that reflects their name. So if I save this particular new user off, you'll see that he's shown in the list of users. If we added another user, and this user is a MOTOTRBO Anywhere user, again, I need to enter a subscriber ID, for example, 7001. I need to enter an alias. Let's call him Fred for now. I need to enter a username. I need to enter a password. And then I can save this user. Again, you'll see this user reflected in the list of users that are available on the system. For this particular user, to add talk groups, I click the talk groups button, and I can see all the talk groups that are configured on the system. I can then select the talk groups that are applicable to this user, and I choose to save those. For the contacts, it's also similar. I see a list of all the users that are available on the system. I select the users that this person should be allowed to make private calls to, and I save those changes. Once I'm ready to actually commit those changes, I simply hit the Commit Changes button, and it takes me back to the main screen, and I know that those changes have been saved successfully to the system and pushed out to all the clients. If we go to the Talk Groups tab, we see a list of all the talk groups that have been saved on the system and what the talk group IDs are. If I want to know what users are associated with a particular talk group, I can simply click the Users button, and it lists out all the users with a checkbox that are associated with this particular talk group. It also gives me the user type, so I know whether they're a traditional radio user or whether they're a MOTOTRBO Anywhere client user. I can also see whether these users are active or interactive. So the next screen that we're going to look at on the MOTOTRBO Anywhere Gateway is the System tab. On the System screen, you'll notice that there's several subscreens available here. The basic configuration settings allow you to configure the IP connectivity of the gateway itself, as well as the settings that you'll need to communicate to your Connect Plus system. You can also change the MOTOTRBO Anywhere administrator password for this gateway. You can manage the licenses that allow a user to log into the gateway itself. There's a system log feature that allows you to help troubleshoot any issues that are occurring on the system. A backup and restore menu option that allows you to back up or restore from a previous backup on the MOTOTRBO Anywhere Gateway. There's a button that allows you to update your MOTOTRBO Anywhere Gateway to the latest software release, and then a button that allows you to transfer your licenses if you are wanting to move a software license off this gateway and onto a different gateway instead. So this concludes our tour of the MOTOTRBO Anywhere solution. We've looked at both the MOTOTRBO Anywhere client, available at the Apple iTunes Store or the Google Play Store, and we've looked at the configuration of the MOTOTRBO Anywhere Gateway. For more information about the MOTOTRBO Anywhere solution, please contact your local Motorola channel partner. Thanks for your time.